From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Scott Wright, OSU beat writer. Scott, the defensive line for Oklahoma State revamped, totally new when the season began, and obviously it was going to take some time for those guys to come together. What have you seen? What has Jim Knowles seen out of that defensive line as this season's progressed?
Well, one of the most interesting things about it is that this has really become a three-man front, and that was a big change. That was sort of one package that they used last year with a base of a four-man front, but they've gone to almost entirely a three-man front with that extra defensive end lining up all over the place and being a guy that's sort of a rover that can come from the middle, come from the edge, stay in a running lane, stay in pass coverage, do a variety of different things. And that has been really the biggest change. They've got a lot more bigger guys. That three-man front now, if it's even with a defensive end like Tyler Lacey out there, that's three guys of 280 and heavier, and that's been an important part of the development of this. But the play of the guys has been the most important part because they've really developed. Israel Antwine coming in after missing the first few games, got himself acclimated pretty quickly. Tyler Lacey was injured for a little while. He's back and playing well now. Cameron Murray has been probably the unsung hero of that group at that nose tackle position, playing incredibly well there. And then as far as that spot that they call Leo, the guy that's the rover, all three of those guys are playing well, but Trace Ford is the guy who has really emerged and started playing a lot of snaps as a true freshman.
Yeah, and when you look at pass rush, there are obviously a lot of components to that. But if you look at sack numbers, Oklahoma State right now 6th in the Big 12, and that's ahead of teams like TCU, Texas, K-State. I mean, some teams that play very solid defense. Obviously, the quarterback hurries is another aspect of things, but Oklahoma State also able to get some interceptions as they've put pressure on the quarterback. But it seems like that's been, if you want to point to why this defense has maybe played even better as the season's gone on, getting more pressure on the quarterback has to be a big part of that.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Sacks were, I don't know where they stood in sacks before the Baylor game.
Yeah.
But since then, they've really started to climb that chart. They had 4 in the first half against Baylor and were playing really well, led the game in the fourth quarter. Didn't have any, the pressure was still coming, but no sacks in the second half. And you saw what happened with Baylor coming and running away with that game. Then the 2 following games, Iowa State and TCU, good pressure, sack numbers are good, creating turnovers. All of those things started to sort of come together and really increase, and they've got back-to-back victories, held 2 teams under 30 points. So that's been a really important factor, maybe the most important factor for this defense turning the corner.
As we look at the Kansas game on Saturday, Jayhawks, when the season started, a lot of run. Then they change offensive coordinators. We've seen Carter Stanley in their pass game be a little bit more robust in recent weeks. I assume that pass rush, maybe when the season started, you didn't think they're going to have it against Kansas, but it's going to come in handy, I would think, on Saturday. Yeah,
it is. Carter Stanley is a veteran guy. He understands this offense and the system that he's in, and is operating really well right now. They're coming off of a rough one against Kansas State, so you expect them to be a little bit motivated to get that taste out of their mouth, come out and play well. So getting to Stanley, keeping him uncomfortable in the pocket is going to be huge. That allows that secondary to stick tight in coverage and come up with some of those pass breakups and interceptions that we've seen in the last 2 games that have been game-changing moments for this defense.
All right, 11 o'clock start on Saturday. FS1 is your network. If you're not headed up, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.